latest Cyberpunk 2077 news, we have an update on the upcoming Trauma Team comic narrative. Nadia discovers that her new extraction subject is Apex, the man who's responsible for Nadia's former team members' deaths. 100 floors high in a skyscraper filled with members of Apex's rival gang. Nadia and her team must complete the extraction. An interview from June has resurfaced. It was conducted between Polish website Spider's Web and lead quest designer Paweł Sasko. Paweł explains that one of the lessons learned from The Witcher 3 was balancing the main storyline with side threads, and this is an area which has significantly evolved in Cyberpunk 2077. In Witcher 3, apparently some players thought the main plot was too long, hence why in 2077 there will be greater flexibility. To achieve this, the side threads can potentially modify the critical path to such an extent that it can dramatically impact your experience of the game and the endings you receive. Paweł cited the example of V's relationship with Jackie Wells being very different depending on what life path you choose, and this effectively has a butterfly effect on the rest of the game. Now, there is a line in this interview which will generate a tremendous amount of clickbait, so it's important to be cognizant of it. In Polish, it's taki sposób, że możesz w ogóle nie ukończyć głównego wątku. In English, an approximate translation implies you don't necessarily have to complete the main narrative. Paweł was then reported as saying you can end the game and receive completely different epilogues depending on the choices you make. The original text is on screen, so if any of my Polish viewers wish to comment on it, be my guest. Some commentators just cut and paste this line into Google Translate and ran with the story. You can finish Cyberpunk 2077 without completing the critical path. Interestingly, when I spoke with my contacts at Night City to verify the authenticity of this report, in particular the line I quoted, they did not wish to comment, so I would not read too much into it. Paweł confirmed not all NPCs will be killable, and this is highly dependent upon the situation. For example, when meeting up with Jackie to eat some ramen, you can't just kill him, as he is V's friend. It would not make sense at that point within the narrative. Another element Paweł would draw attention to is that your initial life path, while influential, will not determine the outcome of the game. For example, if you start as a street kid, by the end of the game you could effectively finish as a nomad, depending upon your choices. Paweł would comment that the entire game has been finished for quite some time. As far as the narrative, no additional material is being added or removed. So, for those who keep on asking for certain features and so on, your time might be better spent elsewhere. Paweł would also reiterate that 2077 is not a political statement on any topic. In terms of lore updates, Haywood is described as a neighbourhood of contrast. In the north, near the city centre, you'll find lush parks and modern skyscrapers towering high above. As you venture further south, however, the views change drastically, with dangerous and unwelcoming slums dominating the scenery more and more. Still, Haywood isn't all bad. Even with gangs like the Valentinos and 6th Street roaming around, if you know your place and keep your head low, that is. The district's been dubbed the biggest bedroom in Night City. That's because most of Night City lives here. The richer parts of Haywood are primarily occupied by corpos. For every rule, there's always the exception, an odd soul from outside the corporate circle that on occasion manages to score an apartment here. The rest are just happy they get to live in Haywood, with their only realistic alternatives being Pacifica or the industrial wasteland outside of the city. Wellsprings is the safest part of Haywood, full of working stiffs and underpaid corporate employees, pretty much your run-of-the-mill American city. After Night City got taken over by corporations, the government moved to Glen. It's now a state-owned sub-district with a town hall, mayor's office, court, and for what it's worth, a big NCPD station. And then there's Vista del Rey, the poorest part of Haywood. It's heavily underinvested, ridden with crime, and slowly descending further into chaos, with residents moving out and gang members moving in. Finally, if you only follow me on YouTube, you might have missed this gem I made on Judy Alvarez, and it was also Shermy Lee's birthday on the 19th. Thank you for chipping in.